Next, welcome Jayachandra Reddy, who is a senior system engineer with expertise in cloud solution and infrastructure as code. He will share insights on mastering infrastructure as code, automation for modern DevOps. Let's welcome Jayachandra to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed your tea break. And once again, welcome to DevOps Days Kerala 2024. So myself, Jayachandra, I'm working as a senior platform engineer at EPAM. So where we deal with multiple projects and multiple verticals, I can say. So I am currently into the Terraform and Kubernetes, where mainly we're managing with, and I'm experienced with Terraform and Kubernetes. So today we are discussing about little bit about Terraform. And so what is the actual necessity in the project or to deploy any application? Why do we need a Terraform? So without Terraform, before Terraform, how are we provisioning the infrastructure? So when I started my IT career, I was into system administrator. After that, I moved to AWS Cloud. The moment when I started, I used to just get the permission to the AWS console, where I will just navigate to the AWS services, example EC2 or S3, any other services. So I will just navigate and create. So that is fine for testing. So how about the multiple environments if you have, let's say development, production, pre-prod, if we have multiple environments, how are we going to manage that? So we don't want to be human errors to be made in this infrastructure as a code. So that's why we got one powerful tools available. Let's say Terraform and AWS native tool, AWS CloudFormation and other open source tools like Polomy. There are many tools. So we'll see what is the main agenda that I have taken infrastructure as a code as a Terraform. So it will mainly, as I already said, right? So human errors I need to avoid. That's why. So for example, I have dev environment. I have created for in the previous session also we saw like they mentioned about Kubernetes and multiple resources they have used in AWS. So similar kind of tools I want to create for my dev environment. So how can I replicate same in pre-production or production environment? So for that reason, first I need to modularize my code and I need to deploy it using infrastructure as a code. So infrastructure as code mainly it will help us to manage and provision the compute resources with the help of configuration files, right? Rather than providing interactive way of provisioning the infrastructure. So the main purpose of this infrastructure as a tool is consistency and scalability. So like whatever the scale you need and consistency between the environments or accounts or the region. Just you go ahead, if you talk about AWS Cloud, right? You just choose the region and if you want to deploy same set of in another region for DR, you just go ahead and just change the variables, for example, provider. So that will deploy you to in the other region for disaster recovery. So infrastructure as code, we talk a lot. So what are the tools like Terraform, AWS CloudFormation? So before going to Terraform, we'll talk about CloudFormation. So before going to that, I hope audience are already using ISE. May I know who all are using ISE? Nice, almost 50% of the audience are using. Glad. Okay, so AWS CloudFormation, right? So this is only for AWS. So we cannot use for multi-cloud, let's say AWS, Alibaba, or Azure. And this is also like very complex and what I can say is drift we cannot check. That is like a dry run I can say. Let's say what is going to provision if I apply or if you run the Terraform template, if I deploy CloudFormation template. So that feasibility we will have it in a Terraform. So you just run it your Terraform plan and you will understand what it is going to provision or if it is already provisioned, if you want to modify anything, right, to the existing infrastructure, it will show you what is actually changing and what is trying to create. So any breaking changes also you will be able to verify. Saying that Terraform is not only one solution, it's also having its disadvantage, but let's not talk about those here. Maybe if you want, you can explore later, okay? So any tool, right? Nowadays, we are using in a modern DevOps. So we need to automate everything. Anywhere. Like I have around almost 4 companies I have worked. So everywhere they will ask automation, automation, automation. So I know you guys are already using multiple automation tools. How I am using Terraform in my current project is, so we used open source GitHub Actions. So we will automate using that. There are other tools also you can use and deploy it. So how I use, how the infrastructure is designed in my current project is, we use some cell wrappers. So we will just run a shell script, like let's say tf.sh, followed by the environment, followed by the which infrastructure you need, what action you need to take. That will deploy your required resources. That is how we have designed. So based upon the requirements, we can automate or integrate with any CI/CD tools. Yeah. So any tool, before we introduce, right, first we have to do POC and we need to understand what is its advantages and disadvantages. Here are the few advantages. You can modularize, as I said previously. Let's say I have, for example, I have one team already onboarded, same kind of infrastructure, other team also required. Just we modify the variables in the variables and the modules, and we will deploy. We don't want to copy exact content of the database or the compute power or whatever the storage. That will be, we'll keep it as a modular. We will just insert as a variables, right, in variables.tf files. That will help us to deploy faster and modularize our Terraform code. And also you can test by using Terraform for FMT or validate or other third-party tools that we can use and validate. So live demo is, I cannot say it is an actual live demo, but by considering the time, right, I will just show you like how you can start with the Terraform basically. So if you are a beginner and if you want to, how you want to start with the Terraform, it's not a rocket science. Just go to Google and open the Terraform docs, and for AWS, you will get the documentation how and where to start. And to start with our authenticate, right? So we need basic things to authenticate with AWS. These are the things, right? If you are accessing with CLI or AWS console, you need username and passwords, and CLI you need access key and secret access key. For our today's demo, live demo stated here is creating EC2 instance, S3 bucket and VPC. So instead of what we will do, we will just deploy a small web application, for example, by using Terraform and AWS, right? See previous documentation, if you type here EC2, you will get EC2 related Terraform, right? Terraform code. You don't want to go to some training institute and don't want to study here. Just click on AWS instance. It will give you the basic skeleton. So depending upon your requirement, you can change it. But don't trust this public documentation. It will only help for your development environment. But in production, it won't be like as simple as you are seeing here. Okay, already I grabbed the Terraform code here. And I just removed whatever is not required. For today's session, I'm just using only single provider. And I'm just creating one single EC2 instance and security group just to access the web application from the public. And I also used basic user data. That is where it is inserting the web application. So first we will do Terraform init. This is the process I'm just explaining. Before that, we need to communicate, we need to authorize to the AWS cloud. So that I have already done. I think you are already aware AWS configure. If you do, it will ask you to the CLI access key and secret access key. Basically, that we won't use in a production or in organizations. We will use the roles. Just for our demo, I'm just using that and I used it. So just Terraform init is just to get the provider plugins. If I'm using AWS, already I have just run the Terraform init. That's why it is already installed all the plugins and just it is using from the cache. So I'll just okay, before apply, we can just run the plan and you can see what is actually happening, what is going to actually happen with these Terraform templates, whatever we have here. So we got a plan. It was very quick. Just trying to add the 2 resources. That is one resource you can see here. That is EC2 instance. Another one is AWS security group. So without further delay, we will just apply it. Yeah, wait for a minute. So this is my account where that EC2 instance and web application will be deployed. And it is asking for authentication. So in real world, right, in companies or like in the projects, we won't run these commands and all. We will just automate and we will run the pipeline and we will get the approval. We will raise the PRs. Just after reviewing, we will merge it. Automation will take care and it will deploy. Yeah, now you can see, right? Within a minute, the server we have provisioned, and we also deployed the application as well. I give it time, another 30 seconds. Already server provision, just it is under booting process. Once that is complete, we will see. Okay, it is not working. Any reason why it is not working? Anybody? Like we usually say, right? It works for in my system. It is not working in actual deployment. Any reason? It's just protocol. Okay, I'm not using any certificate, right? I'm just deploying an EC2 instance. That's why it is not working. Okay, so that's how we can deploy a web application within a minute. Let's say if our developers, any developers here, they want to deploy any microservices into Kubernetes cluster also. We can provision Kubernetes cluster using Terraform. Max 1 hour, which includes like configuring roles and other networking components, right? So that's how easy. And you can create the pipelines based upon the environments, and you can parameterize dev, pre-prod, and prod. So that's how you can deploy it, right? So any questions you guys have? Okay, thank you. I think it is very quick and very basic one. Due to time constraint, we have to cover only basics. So hope you understand. And previously I have my own YouTube channel, but this is not the platform to promote, but I'm not uploading any videos now. It was back. I have created some ECS clusters also using the Terraform. And now we are doing this pipeline and all that we cannot show as I'm working for a bank. So that's a restriction. So, but if you need any help or setting up the pipelines like automation using multiple environments, GitHub Actions with Kubernetes, please reach out to me. I'll help you if you need. Okay. Thanks, everyone. If you want to connect, please.
Thank you, sir, for the insightful session. Now let's welcome Govind to hand over a token of gratitude.